Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is January 22nd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We got the state of California right here. We got some high-level clouds moving across Southern California right now, but that is not where our next weather system is going to come from. It's going to drop down from the north, try to carve out across the state and bring some precipitation, mainly across some of central and southern California. But in the meantime, we still have some of these strong offshore winds going on. Very dry conditions, high fire danger will be present across Southern California as we go on into the early portion of Friday. Then we're going to turn things onshore, bring some of that relative humidity back up and some of that moisture back up into the region, and then drop that system down across the area. So we'll dive into those details here as we go through the morning video here today, and taking a look at the visible satellite imagery. It kind of shows the same thing, but you see not many clouds across the rest of the state of California. There's Mount Shasta. You can see some of the snow across the higher terrain, the Sierra Nevada right there. And yeah, no marine there up and down the coastline anywhere to be had. And this is some of the high, as of last night, some of the high wind gusts out there. You can see Magic Mountain truck travel area up there, 88 miles per hour. These winds probably not quite as strong as they could have been, but still pretty windy in some locations. And if you didn't see on my live stream, we hit 103 miles per hour just north of I-8, off to the east of Alpine down there, San Diego County. So yeah, there's some pretty strong winds off in the backcountry in very dry conditions. But we've had firefighters from all over Canada and a lot of the West Coast and a lot of the U.S. A lot of these firefighters have been out here, so they've been able to squash a lot of the fires that have been getting started there very quickly there with all these firefighters doing good work out there. So that is definitely a benefit. Now, taking a look here, we still have this though. Just a reminder that these existing or new fires may grow rapidly with extreme fire behavior. This goes all the way on in through probably Friday morning. And they see these very low relative humidities with these gusty winds make these very difficult to control once they get going here. So just going to keep that in the back of your mind. And of course, the low relative humidity, some single digits out there, kind of widespread across the region as we go through Thursday. And if you want a nice weather station, this one is hard to beat. Great smartphone app. All solar powered. You point that arrow right there towards the north, and then it does the wind direction and everything for you. I highly recommend this weather station. You can see I'm scrolling around some of the Salton Sea out there, trying to see how many people have weather stations out there. You can see we've got some as we go towards Lake Havasu, then we go off towards Las Vegas. You can see more across the metropolitan area there. There's Pahrump also. Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to get one for Death Valley. But anyway, highly recommended. Now, taking a wide look at things here, this is relative humidity, and you can see just how dry the desert Southwest is, compared to Hawaii and a lot of Mexico there, and Baja is pretty dry. Also, the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, the relative humidity is not nearly as low, especially with these offshore wind events. So as we scroll through the next couple of days, watch what happens when we go through Thursday. You can really see that dry air rushing back out in these offshore winds across Southern California and Baja. So Thursday is going to be the windiest day most likely. Then these will be wrapping up as we go through Friday morning, and watch the green start to return as we go on through Friday night and on into Saturday as the system starts to dig down the coastline there. Look at that relative humidity really bounce back as we go through this upcoming weekend. So that is definitely very nice to see. And we're going to get some rainfall out of this most likely. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. You're going to want to see that. And taking a look at the winds one more time, a little bit closer here, you can see as we're going through the day today, especially this evening, we're going to ramp up those offshore winds fairly strong as we go through the day Thursday, as I mentioned, and that's going to continue on in through Thursday night. And then by Friday morning, we're still offshore a little bit, but then you can see things cut off, and then the onshore flow starts to return right at the end of the run there. So that's when the relative humidities will start to bounce back as we go through the afternoon on Friday. And one more look here at the relative humidity a bit closer. There's the offshore on Thursday, and then the flow reversal there, and you can see the system drop down and the relative humidities bump up as we go through the weekend. Now, this is the fire danger here over the next couple of days. There is some critical and elevated, and you can see if I put the relative humidity overlay there, this is because of wind and relative humidity. So yeah, that's the day one, and the day two looks very similar as far as the fire danger. So that's for today and for tomorrow, and that does extend into portions of Friday as well. Now, looking at the European, this is what everybody wants to know about. What kind of precipitation are we going to get? Well, it's kind of an unusual system because we got this upper level low kind of moving down the coastline. It's largely skipping Northern California. It's going to bring some snowfall here to central Nevada. Here, some of the Sierra Nevada will get some snow out of it. Possibly the San Joaquin Valley, some decent amounts. And you can see if this thing sets up just right and it kind of stalls out a little bit, we could really boost some of these precipitation totals across some of Southern California. And you can kind of see it spinning as we go through the day Monday. Monday. Here we're going through Monday night as where this model run ends. Sorry about that with the volume. But if we take a look again, one more time, I'm going to back up there. You can see this does spend some time over the top of Central and Southern California. And the precipitation starts as snow as we go through Friday afternoon. Here we go on in through Sunday morning. So let me back up to Saturday afternoon right there. Actually, it's Saturday afternoon, not Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, the storm has not arrived yet. So this is Saturday afternoon. We drop this down through Sunday morning. The rain starts to fall sometime late Saturday night into Sunday morning for Southern California. That could continue on in through the day Sunday and possibly on into Monday as well. As you can see the spinning across some of the desert Southwest, bringing precipitation all the way across Las Vegas, portions of Arizona as well as we go through Monday night and on in through Tuesday. Now, the track of this is going to be very important because if this can carve out a little bit further, it's going to be drawing better moisture. If it takes a little bit further of an inside slider track, it can rapidly cut off the amount of precipitation that falls across Southern California, Nevada, and Arizona. So we'll be watching that closely here over the next couple of days. It's only Wednesday. We still got a couple of days to go before this system gets close. Now, what is driving this, as you can see, at 700 millibars, about 10,000 feet, this is temperature. So let me put this into motion, and you'll see this upper level low kind of drop down, taking this, again, an inside slider route, but it does jump out and it kind of pushes back to the west here across California. You can see it spinning there, and hopefully this spends some time over Southern California there. These chilly temperatures could even kick off a thunderstorm or two, and I'll show you some of that here in a moment. Looking at 18,000 feet, you'll see something similar. I'm scrolling through here pretty quick. All the 144 hours on last night's European model run. You can see that colder air aloft, how it kind of reaches out and grabs central Southern California there as we scroll on in through the weekend and the early portion of next week. So I always do like to watch these upper level temperatures move around, these polar lobes I like to call them, not a technical term there. Now, looking at total precipitation in inches, so spend a little bit of time on this. I do want to show you how much rainfall we are progged to get across Southern California, and that's not bad here, and hopefully this spends a little bit more time because these are some decent amounts, especially across some of the higher terrain. But even some of the Los Angeles metro could be looking at, a third of an inch, half an inch for some locations. Some of the San Joaquin Valley and some of the central coast getting some, the Sierra Nevada, some snowfall as well. And even the desert areas may end up getting some precipitation out of this as well as this upper level low. Hopefully it's slow moving as it tracks across California towards Arizona and Nevada. Now, probability of total precipitation equal to or greater than a half an inch. So we're going to scroll through this fairly quick. You can see the probabilities in the bottom. Once you see purple, that's 10 to 20%. When you're in the red, you're 90 to 100% and everything in between. So as you see, you're getting some chances here across a lot of the Southland, especially the higher terrain. You're pushing 70, 80% or more for a half an inch of precipitation. So that is good news. That's just an ensemble probability there. That's the average of all 50 ensemble members on the European. Now, taking a look at, again, this is the lowest 10th percentile of those 50 ensemble members. So this is the dry side of things here. If things don't line up right, this is what you might expect in the way of rainfall. Not much, just a few hundredths of an inch and maybe a little bit more across the higher terrain. But if you go to 25th percentile, you can see that jump up there. So we're expecting at least about this much. If you were to make a forecast, you're pretty confident in at least getting this much. 2/10 of an inch, quarter of an inch there for Los Angeles. Same thing for San Diego. And if you go towards the 75th percentile, now this is on the higher end of things there. You can see some pretty decent amounts. You might get up over a half an inch for Los Angeles or close to it. And again, some of the higher terrain, some pretty good amounts. 90th percentile, if this thing stalls out a little bit more, yeah, you could get an inch even out towards some of the coastal areas. So we'll see how that trends. Now, looking at the European artificial intelligence, kind of looking off into the extended a little bit here, but we'll check out the slow. You can see it does have it spinning over the southwest there for a day or two as it pushes off to the east there. And then we wait to see what is coming, and we go towards more of a traditional pattern where Northern California probably going to be targeted in the Pacific Northwest with some active weather returning. How far south will some of these systems get towards fire-ravaged Southern California is a good question here, but there's kind of a colder signal setting up here in some of the models as well. So we'll watch that. That would bode well as it could generate some cyclogenesis and bring that precipitation further down in towards Southern California. Northern California has had more than their fair share, but still things have been quite dry even for Northern California lately. Now, We do have this thunderstorm threat. The K-index is kind of a measure of thunderstorm potential and instability in the atmosphere. And as we go through the day Sunday, you see that start to develop over some of Central and Southern California. So we do have that thunderstorm threat on Sunday. We'll go over this a little bit more in the upcoming days, but this is for Monday as well, as the upper level low tracks right across the area. This upper level low spawn some of that unstable air and maybe a thunderstorm or two across the area. Now, looking at the GFS, let's see if it agrees. This is a 12Z run. This is hot off the presses. There it goes at that low. It's been in precipitation, so we have decent model agreement. That is good to see. The GFS is fairly wet. As you can see, I'm scrolling through here on Sunday night on into Monday morning. The upper level low kind of hanging out there. So yeah, kind of a nice little treat here. Kind of skipping Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, but targeting Southern California. So that is definitely nice to see. Here's the 6 to 10 day. I don't know what you want to take from this. We'll see how that ends up. This isn't much help right now. This goes through the end of January, however, and the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook below average, kind of broad brush for the west. This is the drought monitor, has been updated here on the 14th. This data is valid as of the 14th. It was released on the 16th, but we do have severe drought, some in Inyo County, San Bernardino, there's Riverside, there's San Diego, there's Imperial, you can see Orange, Los Angeles, Ventura County, mostly moderate there, and half of Santa Barbara is moderate right now as well. And Kern County about half also. So yeah, there is some pretty severe drought here, and right up against the Arizona border, there's actually extreme drought across some portions of Nevada and Arizona as well. So hopefully this upper level low can provide some relief. It would be much needed. But yeah, anyway, it's good to be back home. Had fun out there. I'll probably do a roundup video of what we experienced out there across some of the mountains. It was a pretty wild time. They had Interstate 8 closed down. If you didn't know, they were making all high-profile vehicles stop because the winds were so strong. As the interstate starts to turn south, there, big-time crosswind. I saw some of the trucks trying to go on some of the back roads through that area as well, and they were having to slow down and stop because the wind was just so strong. I mean, it can easily knock those high-profile vehicles over. But yeah, anyway, it's good to be home, back in the studio here. I'll do my normal briefing tomorrow. We'll take an entirely new look at that upper level low, and hopefully not much changes, or we'll even trend a little bit higher in some of those precipitation amounts. And I will talk to you guys then.